you know, all that is looked at by the insurance company, and that's taken in, and that's how the premium, especially for D&O and some of the other liability insurance, is calculated.
Time. Next question.
The answer to this was the degree of accuracy. In the 2 years that I've been on the board, there have been 2 lawsuits. One of them was the beauty parlor lawsuit, in which I was intimately involved. And the other was a pending lawsuit by Elon Weiss, for which International Village has not paid one dime in legal fees, regardless of what the budget shows the legal fees were paid. And the most International Village will ever pay on Elon Weiss's lawsuit is the $10,000 deductible, no matter how much money he gets. Not only that, it's utter stupidity for him to say he's spending $40,000 to collect $4,100. It would have been cheaper for him to pay the $4,100 and sue for $4,100. To spend $40,000 is ridiculous. And why? Because his lawyer has a contingency. On the 718, his lawyer, with this huge complaint, can collect money without Elon Weiss having to pay a dime. And that's what's happening. As far as the beauty parlor is concerned, that was settled without my knowing it by Becker and Polyakov. I would never have consented to that settlement. It was improvident.
Thank you. Yeah.
Next question.
Why?
I got somebody knocked on my door last night, and I've been trying to get the answer to this by calling different people and speaking in the office. They said I'd get the answer tonight about that we owe $3 million by February 2014, and we don't have the money.
Okay, we have an outstanding loan agreement with Wells Fargo, which most people think is attached to our special assessment. They think it's one and the same. It's related, but not one and the same. And the structure of that loan is in February of 2014, it will, whatever balance we owe will become due and payable. It'll be up to us, the association, to try to renegotiate that loan with Wells Fargo or some other bank. If not, then there will have to be another assessment to pay that loan off. Directly related to that, part of the issue of that loan balance is that over the past year, 2 years, just a question, how many of us are making the monthly payments to the special assessment? Quite a few. I don't know if you know, but a significant portion of these payments that you're making for the special assessment have been going into general operating. So the balance on this outstanding loan has not been going down the way it should have. But specifically to that point, in February 2014, whatever we do owe has to be renegotiated.
1 second.
Marvin has said something that
They want to refute, so they have that right.
don't think it's exactly correct, so they want an opportunity to respond to the other side.
Who wants to speak? Who wants to speak?
It's my understanding that as far as assessments are concerned, as required by the law, the loan agreement, they've all been paid to date, and they get paid each month. If every assessment is paid in full at the end of this loan, that $3.3 million is still due. It's got nothing to do with the loan. It's what's called a balloon payment.
And that balloon payment was taken out before we even moved here. I don't like it. I think it was a bad deal, but we're stuck with it. And when that time comes,
Yes.
The loan has to be renegotiated, that's all. The loan has to be renegotiated and get a better deal, that's all. But every dime that goes in there, all the assessments are paid. And the problem we had back in 2009, when a previous administration was, we discovered that no assessments were paid, and we owed almost $70,000. So we had to take that money out of the insurance proceeds from 2009 before we were even on the board, and we paid that, and that's been we're all up to snuff. 2009, 2010, and 2011 are all paid.
I want to talk to this issue because I know this like no one else does. And this is what I've been doing for almost a year. Everybody's half right and everybody is half wrong. Let's get the record straight. Please. The loan was first taken out in 2006. It was not renegotiated in 2006 or 7. It was renegotiated in February 2009. Everything is current today as far as your monthly special assessment payments are concerned. Mr. Tresigny is wrong that we are current in every way. The last I knew, we were still $97,000 in the hole, and I'm still waiting to get the final analysis on that. Mr. Kaufman is wrong as well. The loan continues to amortize as we go along, and everything that we pay down will continue to amortize down to a point, and it's a pretty low point, which will be hard to reach. The very important thing is what is happening to the special assessment payments on pay down, as opposed to your monthly special assessment, which are irrelevant here. Mr. Tresigny is absolutely correct that the monthly special assessment payments are current. Wait a minute. Everyone's interested in this, I'm sure. The monthly special assessment payments are current. There is no problem with that, and every month $35,000 to $36,000 goes to the bank, and it pays the interest on the loan, and it amortizes the loan by the appropriate amount. The problem comes in the special assessments. Those that are in the pay downs. Marcy asked the question, you've got $500,000, it's really $530,000 that came in this year, due to the lawyer's abilities and due to Christina Aronoff's ability in the office, i.e. we collected $530,000 of delinquent accounts. Of that amount, approximately $125,000 were special assessment pay downs. It is unclear at this point in time how much of that $125,000 has been paid to the bank. There were, since May, when I left as treasurer of this facility, since from May until December 31st, there were approximately $14 pay downs of special assessment due to sales of condominiums that were not foreclosures. That amounted to approximately $175,000. It is unclear at this point in time, although we're working on it, how much of that $175,000 has been paid to the bank. Ergo, we have this mythical figure of $300,000. Maureen has been trying to get the information to me. It should be available at a moment's notice. It isn't available at a moment's notice. But of the $300,000, X amount, all of it has to go to the bank. It is unclear how much has gone to the bank at this time. When that money goes to the bank, which it will do, hopefully within a short time after this election, when that money goes to the bank, we will then be in full compliance. And after that, every amount of money that comes in on special assessment pay down must go to the bank in time. The bank says on the First Amendment to the bank note, on page 2, paragraph B5, if there is a special assessment paid down, the money must go forthwith to the bank. For the last 3 years, the special assessment pay down money has gone forthwith into various and sundry accounts in this institution, not directly to the bank. When Charles Fitzpatrick and I got working on this in January, we started to turn that thing around. We're not through yet, but we're almost home. So everybody's a little bit right, everybody's a little bit wrong, except the speech that you just heard.
Terrific.
Well, my question's about the budget, and I want to speak to the board, but now, after what Mark said, I'm not sure I would like my answer from the president or from the lawyer. I would get my answer from Doug, because one thing about Doug, you got to give him that he can count. The expenses here are $3,300,000. That's minimum. That's easy. You just add the big amounts and a few small amounts on previous budget given by Terry, on mystical budget that we never get, but it's $3,300,000. The revenue is very clear. It's $2,700,000. Doug, you can count. How can you guys have the balls to promise no increase in maintenance? Is it important to get elected? I guess. But to lie like that, there's $600,000 missing. Is that simple? You want to answer? Thank you.
Okay, first I want to say that with all the work I've done this year, it hasn't been on the budget committee. But I do know, I think I'm going to give a satisfactory answer. And I said it at the last meeting. Actually, Mark gave a pretty good answer just now. And I think he appreciated the answer. I'll repeat it again. Yeah, only a financial idiot would say that we're bringing in X amount of money, and with 90 to 110 people not paying, there's a shortfall. But the problem is that if we accept the budget as it is, and it says, yeah, we're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, where's the money going to come from? By that standard, you'd have to balance the budget by giving an increase in maintenance. But in reality, if we're collecting $400,000 or $500,000 a year to offset that, and until it does, that's where the money's coming from. Yes, we are a loss. We are definitely losing money. But Trapani is raising $400,000 or $500,000 last year to offset it. If our collections aren't as great sometime in the future, then and only then, when there's no other way to keep the place going, we will give a small maintenance increase. Maybe, but speaking from Trapani's past and what he said so far, he expects to raise significant amounts of money this year to again offset. Now, in the next year, with more foreclosures coming due, more are going to be put back on the books, and that 90 to 110 apartments maybe will go down to 60 or 70. We don't know. We're not fortune tellers. We don't know how the economy is going to be, but right now, we're losing a few hundred, but we're getting it back in terms of old debt. Now, when you have a budget, it's illegal to count old debt as income. So technically speaking, on an accounting sheet, yeah, we're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. What are we idiots? We're spending money that we don't have. But in reality, we do have it. We're collecting that money from bad debt. When that day comes when we don't, we'll have to deal with it. But that's absolutely a last resort. And that's the answer to your question.
The only thing is $500,000 that you're talking about that's going to come in. Well, no, but let's say 500,000. That's a lot of foreclosures. It's almost like 500 units foreclosed at $1,000 each that we would get. It almost doesn't make sense, 500,000. Trapani can collect all he wants. We're talking a special assessment. If there's collection on the maximum people that don't pay, which is apparently 100 people, that would be 5,000. In other words, everybody would pay in a perfect world this year to get even close to 500,000. Like, the figure doesn't make sense.
Over $500,000. And he expects to equal, exceed that this year, okay? And then eventually, the idea is getting out where, as we're taking these units back, we're taking title, which was never done, okay? That's why people are paying now. They realize that if you don't pay, we're gonna take title and we're gonna and you're removed, you're sheriffed out of your place, and we take the property over. Then we rent it out. We hope that they don't pay. The bank doesn't come back, because once we take title to the property, we have the right to rent it out, and then we give
That's what I want to know.
yes, Michael.
Section.
I'll wait till you finish.
Okay, that's the secret that his secret recipe that's always been out there, but nobody did it. It's been around for 10 years, taking title. He did it 10 years ago, he told me, and he turned 5 or 6 different places around, 5 or 6 places like this. This is the biggest one he's ever tackled, and I believe that he would do it. Actually, Michelle's the one that contacted him to begin with. No one here ever heard of him. Michelle contacted him, and then Charles talked to him, and I said, wait, I believe this guy, let's turn them all over to him. Well, Charlie said, let's give him 2. So we gave him 2, and before you know it, he took them all, and he produced right away. The only way people are gonna pay is if they realize that you're gonna take their property. That's what makes people pay, and that's why they were infuriated and they came at me.
I'd like to just ask a couple questions, if you can. First of all, how many units have we taken title to? How many of those are rented?
Right.
What did it cost us to foreclose on them? I know it's about $2,000 each. They were not even previewed prior to taking title, and you realized after the fact that some of them weren't worth taking title to. We couldn't afford to fix them and ever get a return on that investment. If you just continue to take title without looking at these properties, you're wasting our money.
No, we're not. The reason we take title is because we don't want people living here for nothing. I'd rather have the unit empty than have people living, using water, walking around our facilities, I don't want anybody living here for free, okay? I'd rather have the unit empty than have someone living in there for free. That's how I feel.
Taking title means ownership?
Temporary ownership.
It's not ownership.
It's not ownership.
You can't sell it.
You can't sell it. You can't sell
Taking
it.
title means
that you take the property over.
and your conclusion is by taking title, you'll be able to find someone to rent it with that person not knowing when the lease is going to end.
No,
Is that the intention?
that person knows.
Well, how would he know? If
It's
you don't own it.
written right in the lease,
But
they're told.
if the bank owns it, the bank can sell it at any time it finds a buyer.
But they have to pay us back every
I
time.
understand all that, but your intention is to take title and to rent it, and you're saying that's going to produce income for
It
the
has.
village.
Hey, we took
But-
title on 5 of them. They've been in there for over a year. The bank has not moved at all. We just keep collecting.
And there are people that will take title on a 30-day basis.
Absolutely. Well,
On a 30-day
here's what we
basis.
do. We take the lease for a year, but there's a contingency. If the bank takes it
Right.
back, they
So
have
then
30
it's really
days.
month to month.
It's really month to
It's
month.
month to month, and there are people that are qualified. There are people who are qualified
Absolutely, they're
that
paying.
do that, take it on month to
And they're
month.
paying us every
That would
month.
be interesting to check.
Absolutely.
Who they are.
Maureen, how many do we have rented right now?
I'm right here.
How many do we have rented?
Right now, we have 2 rented and 2 are being cleaned to be rented.
How many do
We have title to 7.
7. 2 out of 7.
What kind of people are they?
All right, I have something to say on that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being corrected. 4 are rented.
Being in the real estate business, I mean, this is common practice. I don't know if Mr. Mayor was aware of it or not, but this is done all the time. And people do rent these things out, and they don't know how long the rental's gonna be, but they do rent them. It happens all the time. It's turned a lot of condominium complexes around.
Thank you, John.
Any more questions?
Jerry Miro.
Yes.
Diane would like to know, since you're going to be away for 6 months, are you going to be on conference call for board meetings?
Of course. I'm available for anything. If we were to have a hurricane here, I'd be on the next plane to come down here. When my father was sick, I spent 18 months here with just completely keeping an eye on him. I am available. I can either be through phone or it could be in person. Today, people can get around at a moment's notice. I'd certainly rather have a good board member that is here 6 months than a bad board member that's here for 12 months. Okay, so with planes around and telephones around and Skype and whatever, there's no information travels around the globe in a matter of seconds. So being here is nice, and I enjoy being here, and I can be here anytime. That's necessary, but that's not it's a qualification for being an officer, but it's not a qualification for being on the board, and it's strange that it would be brought up at this time. You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. But yes, I'm available anytime that I'm needed. I'm available. Okay, but to follow that up, it's interesting to me, being a businessman. Generally speaking, when I knock myself out, I do it because I'm going to benefit. I'm going to make a profit. I'm going to earn something. None of us running for the board here are getting anything. At least that we're not supposed to be getting anything. Okay? So to me, we hire people, lawyers, managers, accountants. They're the ones that are doing the work. They're the ones that are getting paid. We don't have to be here on a daily basis to say, do this, do that. If I'm going to be here to say, do this, do that, I want to get paid. And that's not why I'm running for the board. Okay? I'm running for the board to see that things get done properly through the people that through the people. I've just been signaled that I'm speaking too long. to do it through the people we're hiring that's getting paid. And so it doesn't make any sense to me that 6 months, 9 months, whatever. I think the president could be here for 6 months, but it's not in the documents. That's not how you get things done when you're not getting paid. It's monitoring the people who you are hiring. Thank you very much.
Hi, getting back to taking titleship, 2 questions. One, these renters, are they going through the regular board rigmarole? As I put it.
Yes, they go through sales and leases.
They do, okay, proper chance, okay.
Do they go through the sales and lease?
The proper channels of renting.
You know, when they take title, when they come up for rent. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Second question with regard to that, has anybody ever gone to the banks when you take the titles to see if the renters can rent to own, or if the banks would work out, negotiate? Bottom line is the more renters we have in here, the less their property value is still going to be.
Correct.
So if we can somehow turn some of those rents into buys, I think it would be something to look into.
We're hoping that the banks take the property back, okay, and pay us off the 20, 15, 30,000, whatever the figure is that's owed on the property to us. We want them to take it back, but they're not doing it.
Right.
So
they're not doing it.
So the only recourse we have is either let the people live there for free and let the owner that hasn't paid us collect the money from that renter, and that's like doubly being abused, okay? I'd rather get the person out, okay, take title, and have no one in there than be abused that way. And you know, we're paying to have that unit for free to the owner, and then he gets the rent. And we've already asked a lot of the renters to come in and pay us directly, and they never do. They're afraid, and they keep paying that. We warn them. pay us and you can stay, because that's a law. And they don't do it. So that we have to go through the whole process, take title, and then on the last day they come in, why are you getting rid of it? I said, we asked you many times to come in and pay. Maureen can attest to that. And then it's too late, and then we don't want to do it. We don't want to. We'll rent to a new person at that point. That's how it's been
Well,
going.
either way, the bank has to get paid.
Excuse me?
Either way, the bank has to.
No, the bank has to pay us. The bank has to pay. The bank owes us the money, and they're not giving it to us.
Yeah, I just want to ask the illegal renter how they get in and out from the community, from the gate. If they are illegal renter and they pay for the owner.
Well, here's the problem. We can go through the whole process and get that renter out. It takes 90 days. But if we don't have title, the very next day when that renter's out, the landlord walks his person right onto the property and can put another person in there right in front of us, and then we got to get that person out. That's why we take title. They were laughing at us. One guy said, "You'll never stop us." And you know, we took title to his property, and then I had notes put under my door.
He has a different question.
They go right through the front gate because it's on their license. You can't stop them. They live here. They've established residency. They're here illegally, but when they have it on their license, they have the right to come in. The only way we control that unit is when we take title and we have the unit. We're saying, you're in our place. And then the sheriff comes. It's a nasty process. Stuff gets thrown out of the window, and but at least we get that person out. It's not pleasant. That's the unpleasant side.
Terry, I don't understand something that I cleared up about the banks. You're saying the banks owe us a lot of money. My understanding, when the banks foreclose on the property, the bank has a very limited liability. Not only do we lose the assessment, that just disappears when they foreclose on the property, but they're also only have either, I think, 6 months maintenance or 1% of the sale price. So the bank doesn't have a large liability if they foreclose on the property. In fact, that's what's so nice about trying to do a short sale while the owner